What is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Spoilers with Paul, bringing you the latest on Celebrity Big Brother live feeds. Okay, so we just came off of a pretty bizarre eviction last night with Keisha getting voted out. There was a plan in place at the time to get out to backdoor Shannon, but Keisha had some issues with her breast milk, and apparently she was voted out. Um, which was, I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was bizarre, but it meant that Shannon got to stay, so that's obviously good news for Shannon at the very least. By the way, if you guys are watching live, feel free to talk to me in the chat below about what your thoughts are on what's going on, and if you have any questions for me, etc., etc. All right, so right when the feeds come on, it did look like there wasn't too much going on right away before until after the HOH. But before the HOH, you had Mark kind of speculating with Shannon that Friday is going to be like a double eviction. So they're like, oh, we should all like be prepared for that. And they're saying there's still 9 players left, and finale is basically going to be in a little over a week. So they have to get rid of 9 players before then. And they're speculating about how like they're going to do finals and stuff, like a final 4 or whatever. So I thought that was rather interesting. I don't think there is a double on Friday. If you're in the chat, let me know, because I think it's just a normal eviction, but maybe they'll maybe on Wednesday we'll find out for sure. Okay, but anyway, the HOH competition, it ended up being a golfing type competition. I don't think it's the golf luck one, although I guess it could be. Maybe it could be similar to the one that we saw in Big Brother 13. I'm not sure. Although it could just be something completely different, because they said there was a lot of wind in this competition, like the wind was blowing in their face. And after the competition was over, a lot of people were like coughing a lot. They said it was a really pretty rough competition, and I don't know. We had like Marissa and Ari like needing an inhaler and stuff. It was kind of bizarre. Anyway, the winner of the competition was Ari. So Ari is the new HOH. Good for her, honestly. And it's honestly a good week for her to win it. And I'll get to why I think that after I explain what the plan for this week is. So yeah, Ari wins HOH, which is good for her and the people that she's working with, which is really Brandy. I mean, you can really see her and Brandy as kind of being like the solid 2-piece. And then there's Marissa that they're kind of working with, and that they're not kind of, that they are working with. And then Ross they didn't really know where Ross was for sure until a little later today. Patty says, "Hi, Paul." Hey, Patty, how you doing? So yeah. What's also interesting is that after this HOH competition, Metta basically says, "Yeah, I'm ready to play now. Like I'm done like trying to go home. I'm here to play, and I'm just here to I just want things to be fair for everyone." And his targets at this point are still James and Shannon, and that's basically how everyone's seeing it right now. So everyone really just wants to put up James and Shannon and send Shannon home. So that's basically the talk that they have, and Brandy kind of explains this to Omarosa, although very mildly. She explains it a lot better later, but she basically says, "Yeah, Keisha and you were safe, and we're always supposed to be safe, and Shannon was supposed to be backdoored." And Omarosa's confused because apparently she had no idea. Whether or not she did for sure, I can't be confident, but she's telling people that she had no idea that plan was even an option at that point. So she was very surprised to be hearing that from Brandy. But yeah, Ari says immediately that she wants to get Shannon out, and she and Brandy come up with a plan to put not to do like a backdoor or anything, but just to put James and Shannon up directly, and if Shannon wins veto, send James home. But the main target is James, at least at that moment. Ross and Marissa were in another room while they were having this conversation, and they were saying, "Oh, we should put up Metta and Omarosa, and then if someone wins veto, we backdoor Shannon, or Mark and Omarosa." he came up with Mark and Omarosa later for some reason. I don't know. But anyway, that's what Ross and Marissa were thinking, and then they all got together and they basically just said, okay, let's just do James and Shannon. So it's really telling, because when Ross was in the HOH room talking to them, it really looked like he still thought like he was like in charge. He was doing like a lot of the talking, which I thought was interesting. Like he was trying to say, okay, here's what we got to do. Metta should have kept quiet about wanting to stay now. Now he's fair game to get out. I mean, yeah, he's fair game to get out, but I don't know. He's like he wants to play, but he doesn't want to play. He's so bizarre. I mean, we'll see what he's saying tomorrow. Him and his weird little owl. It's rather interesting. So yeah, it really seems to me like Ross is still kind of overplaying a little bit. He was saying, okay, we should probably, in regards to scenarios, because Ross last week, it looked like he was playing up scenarios so much in his head. Oh, what if whatever gets picked for the veto, yada, yada, yada. And it looked like he was doing the same this week. So I'm glad that Brandy and Ari were just like, no. We're not playing this scenario this bull game again. We're just going to put up James and Shannon directly. Right? And because Ross's original prospect to put Omarosa and whoever else up, either Metta or Mark, kind of made him look a little suspicious to Brandy and Ari, and that's why they weren't fully trusting him yet. And just like the previous week, when they didn't really know if he was for sure wanting to backdoor Shannon. Ross is too wishy-washy. He is wishy-washy. Although I think today he definitively is definitely playing with Brandy and Ari and Marissa. Like definitely for sure. Like we all knew that he was, but he's definitely for sure doing that, and he's made that clear. I guess I'll just talk about that now. So Brandy and Ari, they pulled Ross aside and they're like, listen, I just want to make sure that you're definitely with us. Like it's going to be us, whatever, to the end, us four to the end. They're including Marissa in that. And Ross is like, yes, 100%. And, whatever you want me to tell Shannon and James is what I'll tell them. And Ari and Brandy are like, okay, well, I think it's better if you play both sides to try to fish information out of them. And Ross says, okay. And then that's what he's going to do. Which, interesting move on Ross's part. Interesting move. So let's see here. Metta wants to put that. Right. So there was some talk about Metta, about the owl, that he's been playing with in the house. Apparently, I don't know. Apparently, like he wanted to he said it was making him soft or something, so he wasn't hanging out with the owl anymore, and now he misses the owl. And the owl's a girl that its named is well, we know it's Orwell, like the regular owl, but he's naming this one's a girl, so it's Orwella. I don't know. Metta is just so goddamn bizarre. Until Brandy outs them accidentally. Yeah, Brandy does out them, but we'll get to that. All right, so let's see here. And their plan was to get Shannon out and then James out in the double eviction, which they think is happening, which I'm not too sure is. I don't think it is at all, actually. But I don't know. Who knows? Big Brother could still pull one out. So one thing that I found interesting was that Ari and Brandy did not want to tell Mark about this plan at all. And I thought that was interesting because Ross I really want to say last week, but Ross the other day, before the previous eviction, I guess I have to say now, before the previous eviction, Ross basically told Mark the plan to get Shannon out. But now Ari and Brandy are like, no, we're not going to tell Mark anything. I think this is a mistake because whoever stays after this, who's not in that 4, I think has the potential to team up at some point because they're going to see the writing on the wall eventually. So I think them not telling Mark really basically tells Mark, tells Mark that he's not with them. And that's dangerous. So Mark's gonna probably target them next week if he's not getting the information that everyone else seems to have. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I mean, let me know down below. They could have just told Mark, yeah, listen, we're getting out Shannon. That's all there is to it. And I think Mark would have said, okay, honestly. Dumb move on Brandy part is the same mistake they let Ben play both sides on Survivor. Now Ross can control the information he gets from the other side. Yeah, I know. It was a very dumb idea. Very, very dumb idea. That's what. Well, glad it didn't really work out like that. Okay, so let's see. Brandy wanted to. There was some talk about whether or not they wanted to tell Shannon and James that they were going up. They already had speculation that they were going to. Shannon noticed that like Marissa wasn't looking her in the eye throughout the day, and it was like all this little drama or whatever. And James apparently heard something or another that maybe he was going up, and he talked to Mark about it. And Mark's like, I'm not really sure. I think James put like a lot of trust in Ross, and James is saying if Ross and Marissa are not on our side anymore, then we're going up, basically. And if they are on our side, then we're probably safe, because he thinks that if the four of them are still together, James, Shannon, Ross, and Marissa, then they won't have the numbers to get one of them out, which I think they still would, but who's counting? Apparently not James. But anyway, then James and Shannon talk, and Shannon's like, oh, I think Omarosa is up there throwing us under the bus, where really it was just Brandy explaining to Omarosa that the previous eviction plan was originally supposed to be Shannon before Keisha wanted to go home. So it wasn't really Omarosa throwing Shannon under the bus, although she did say that she was the one that came to her for the final 2 deal on the first day, which I believe it was for her. I believe it was Omarosa that did it. But it's the minor details. It didn't really matter too much in the scheme of things, although I'm sure Omarosa thinks it matters. And it could come into play later. Could very well come into play later. A little small white lies could definitely come into play later. But yeah, James and Shannon was basically like, listen, I'm done. I'm not going to fight if they put me up. It just is what it is. And James was like, no. You got to fight. You got to fight hard. This is the game you love. You got to keep going. I thought that was kind of cool, James. All right, let's see. James and Mark talk. James and Shannon talk. Yep. Ross is pretending he doesn't know anything. Right. They had a talk with Ross, James and Shannon, and Ross was basically pretending like he didn't know anything. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know if you're going up. There was like really no game talk at all, but I'll go up there and try to find out. And then Ross comes downstairs and he's like, yeah, I don't know. It's looking kind of wishy-washy at this point. I think maybe you are going up, but I think Shannon would be the target if that's the case. And it was like, okay, well, that's fine. So then nominations happen, and Shannon and James are put on the block. Apparently Ari was like really nervous with the nomination ceremony, which is, it happens sometimes. And then Shannon basically was breaking down in like the bedroom, and they were all trying to like comfort her or whatever. Brandy was explaining the situation to. Oh, actually, one more thing. Before the nomination, it looked like James and Shannon were very dismissive of Ari's play with this nomination. They seem to think that it's more Brandy that has the control here, and I don't really see that being the case. Like I think Ari is basically also Ari's not really being controlled. She also wanted Shannon, and she also wanted Shannon out. I mean, it's good for her game that Shannon and James are out. Honestly, it's not good for Ross's game theoretically, but it's good for Ari and Brandy that the two of them are out. So I think James and Shannon are dismissive of Ari, and if they leave the house, I think they'll see that they were incorrect with that. Okay, so Shannon's in the bedroom after the noms, and Brandy's basically explaining, yeah, you're a badass. That's why we want you out. And Shannon's saying, oh, I'm all alone in this game. I have no one to really talk to and console me. You all have each other if you're ever feeling down, but I can't even talk to you because if I do, you all think everyone else thinks I'm talking game with them, yada, yada, yada. So it really seems like Shannon is like done right now, which is kind of whatever. It was kind of a sad thing to watch. I didn't really. I mean, it's strange coming. I mean, she's a super fan. You think she'd want to fight more, but maybe it's just a temporary state. If she's not feeling better by tomorrow, I'd say it's not a good sign, and she'll probably. I don't know. I just expected more fight. Let me know down below if you expected more fight from Shannon. Maybe we'll get some tomorrow. James seems pumped up. He's working out like crazy, getting ready. I don't know. It's a little bizarre. Right. Brandy tells Shannon that she thought her, James, and Mark had an alliance. Well, it was the 7-person alliance. So yeah, kinda. I don't. Stupid. I guess they meant final 3 deal, but no, they didn't. Yeah, so it looked like Shannon was the target, but then like an hour ago, there was some talk that like, oh, James is acting all cocky or whatever. I don't really see it, but whatever. James is always cocky, so this is like whatever. It's like, oh, James is acting cocky and he thinks he's staying, yada yada yada. So maybe we'll get James out instead. Maybe he's the bigger threat. And I'm just like, I think she's faking it, trying to get sympathy, lay low, like she's not a threat. I don't think so. Shannon gets very emotional. Like I remember that conversation she had with Omarosa a few days, like last week. I don't know. I think Shannon's just an emotional person. If it is to try to get sympathy and to prove she's not a threat, then good on her, I'd say. But it could just be an unintended consequence, which could work in her favor. But yeah, anyway, James is looking like the new target at this point, although things could switch a lot between now and Friday, and we'll find out for sure then. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe and like the video. If you like us and what we do and want us to keep doing it, our Patreon is down below. The link is down there. Feel free to contribute as much as you want. I'll want to give a shout out to Patty. Thank you for supporting us in our endeavors with all of our videos, and thank you for always commenting. So thank you. I think Dave will be doing a live feed video tomorrow, so look forward to that. I think Dave and Chris should be doing the episode recap too. I will be at school. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, peace.